Coming up on today's Philadelphia Eagles Now, I always look forward to these segments because I know that all of you know ball. We're going to open up the floor, take questions, take hot takes, take your analysis from all of our real ones, subscribers, and viewers here on Philadelphia Eagles Now as part of our mailbag. That's why you subscribe to the channel. I always want to give you informative, insightful, entertaining content that is also thought-provoking, but I also want you to have a voice and for you to be a part of what we do. So hit that subscribe button, and also, if we didn't take your question here on today's show, hit me up on social media. I'm on X. I'm on Instagram, at Chase_senior. 16,000 followers on X, nearly at 37,000 followers on IG, in addition to all of the long-form content that I do and talking about the Eagles and covering the Birds here on YouTube. I'm always talking about the Eagles on social media as well to keep you in the know. Let's begin our mailbag with this $2 super chat coming in from Joe Lord. I really appreciate the super chat. And by the way, if you send in a super thanks, that goes a long way in supporting the show. And let me make a deal with the people. If somebody sends in a $100 super thanks on today's show, I am going to send you an Eagles Now hat with some Chat Sports shades and a Chat Sports bottle opener. Anyway, back to Joe Lord. Do you think that Grant Calcaterra can replace Dallas Goedert, or are we drafting a tight end? So some of the big news of the week, Dallas Goedert returning to the Eagles on that restructured contract. He was due to make $14 million in cash for 2025. The Eagles will get him at a discounted rate. It gets bumped down to $10 million. He can make another $1 million in incentives. I think this is a move that is a great one for the Eagles. I've said for months, it just makes sense to make this work. Dallas Goedert makes your team better. He's one of the top all-around tight ends in football. The Eagles did not draft a tight end, and while they signed Harrison Bryant and Kylen Granson, those two players and Grant Calcaterra aren't to the likes of Dallas Goedert, who is so dynamic as a receiver, picking up yards after the catch, great hands, great catch radius. He can run every route. If you do suffer injuries to the wide receiver position, his role gets glorified a little bit. And so this Eagles tight end depth chart, it is one of the deepest tight end rooms in the NFL. You have Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, Harrison Bryant, Kylen Granson. All these players are a little bit different. Goedert, the best pass catcher, yak, picker, upper, and blocker in this tight end room. Grant Calcaterra is a tall player with that prototypical tight end size, who's a gifted athlete and pass catcher. Harrison Bryant is 6'5". You can use him in the red zone and in short yardage situations. And then Kylen Granson is an excellent blocker. Now, from Joe Lord, he asks, can Grant Calcaterra replace Dallas Goedert? I don't think so. And obviously, that's a 2026 offseason question. I think Calcaterra is best suited as a backup tight end. The Eagles didn't draft a tight end because the board didn't fall their way in the 2025 draft. Next year, though, if they want to move off of Goedert or if he gets injured again and they're like, look, we just can't deal with these injuries any longer because he's missed so much time throughout his NFL career, I think they draft one, and then Calcaterra can be a high-level backup. Donald Knight Jr., another super chat coming in, $5. I need to know about Justin Simmons. That's what he's talking about here. So for those of you not familiar, we were doing a live show earlier this week, and I posed the question, do the Eagles need to sign Justin Simmons? And so he's saying here, do we need to sign Justin Simmons? No. Should we? Yes. He'd be a great mentor, plus he knows Vic Fangio's defense and scheme. And those are a lot of my thoughts, right? Justin Simmons is a 4-time second-team All-Pro in this league. He's been in the league for a minute. He's seen it all. 2016 third-round pick out of Boston College. He's been a 2-time second-team All-Pro under Vic Fangio. As recently as 2023, he was an All-Pro player. He has picked off more than 30 passes in his career. He's been extremely durable, 13-plus games in 8 of 9 seasons, and he's a ball-hawking playmaker. Even if you don't want Justin Simmons to start for you, that is fine. If you want to roll with Reed Blankenship and Andrew Makuba or Sidney Brown, that's fine. But you need a depth piece there. So he helps with depth. He can fill in as a starter. He knows the scheme. He gets along with Vic Fangio. He gets along with Christian Parker. He is a great character presence and leader inside that locker room. Most importantly, I don't think he's going to cost all that much money. And so I'm with you. I think the Eagles should sign Justin Simmons. Do they need to? No. But it's a move that I think would benefit Philadelphia greatly. Carol Hosey, a real one here on the show. What, if any, impact will the George Pickens trade have on the NFC East? It's a good question. So my immediate takeaway when I woke up on Wednesday morning and I saw that the Cowboys were trading for George Pickens and all the Steelers got was a 2026 third and another late rounder was, wow, the NFC East is going to be hyper competitive in 2025. And here are the trade details here. But you think about what all of the teams inside the NFC East have done this offseason. A lot of them have made a plethora of moves. They've been very aggressive. They've gone all in. And they're really trying to catch up to the Eagles and hunt them down. For instance, the Commanders made it to the NFC Championship game in 2024. They got crushed by the Eagles. The Birds dropped 55 points on them, but nobody thought they were going to make it that far. And they made a lot of moves that I liked in free agency and in the draft. The New York Giants, they got Abdul Carter at number 3. They drafted Jackson Dart, who they hope to be a developmental young quarterback. They got Darius Alexander, Marcus Bow, Cam Scatterbo. I thought they crushed it in the draft. And then the Dallas Cowboys, they trade for George Pickens, who I know that he can be a malcontent. You never know what's going on in between his ears. You never know what he's going to do or say. There's a good chance that it doesn't work out for Dallas. But some security there. They gave up a third-round pick. But when he's right, 6'4", great size, he can go up and get it. He's one of the more dynamic young wide receivers in the National Football League. He can run at that size. It gives Dallas a very good 1-2 punch at wide receiver with C.D. Lamb and George Pickens. He is going into the final year of his contract, so that's of note. And he could make it be known, I want a deal. On that same note, he could play extremely motivated and give the Cowboys his best football. I think Dak Prescott needs another weapon. He's not good enough to carry the boats for Dallas. And so I think it makes the NFC East a lot more competitive. It helps out Dallas greatly. This is going to be a very fun division. Inside the NFC East, there has not been a repeat winner as division champ since, 2004. And so the Eagles will have their work cut out for them with these division games going up against improved teams. And on top of that, they have one of the toughest schedules in the National Football League. It is pretty telling how Mike Tomlin, who will deal with a lot as a head coach, just wanted to give George Pickens away pretty much. Get your Eagles jerseys today, by the way. Thanks to our friends at Fanatics. We'll get to your questions here in just a moment as we have more coming in. But use that link down below. Get geared up for the 2025 season. Rep the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. And it's always good to rock an Eagles jersey in season or off season. Chatsports.com/Eagles jersey. You can get Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Cooper DeJean, black, midnight green, white, Kelly green, small, medium, large, 2XL, 3XL, men's, women's, kids, all jerseys available, authentic replicas. Chatsports.com/Eagles jersey. You use that link, it supports us because Fanatics knows that Philadelphia Eagles now sent you. Back to your questions here in our mailbag. Andrew Nathan always knows ball. Chase, if you had to think about a position group that Howie makes a trade for before the start of the year, what do you think it would be? I think it's cornerback Greg Newsome II. Greg Newsome II could be had by the Cleveland Browns. His name has been floated in trade discussions. The Eagles took Mac McWilliams in the draft, but they could use another outside corner if they want to make a trade there. I saw some Eagles fans commenting about Trey Hendrickson. I do think the Eagles are still very deep at pass rusher, defensive end, and along the defensive line. But if you don't like what you're seeing from Azeez Ojulari, Josh Uche, Do you get into some trouble? Nolan Smith, in back-to-back years, has had a shoulder surgery and a tricep surgery that he suffered in the Super Bowl. So you could look to bulk up that position. I think you're good at offensive line depth. You could make a trade at wide receiver if you're not happy with how Jahan Dotson is coming along at wide receiver 3 or your wide receiver 4 spot. Running back is another position they didn't address in the NFL draft. Off-ball linebacker if you're worried about Jahad Campbell's health. Safety, too, if you don't sign a player like Justin Simmons. Hunter Esper, he's been watching the show for a long time. Why did the Eagles choose another quarterback? You know, Hunter, there are positions in football where you never stop adding. The quarterback position is one of them. The most important position in all of sports. You can never have enough good quarterbacks. Now, if you have 2 good quarterbacks, sometimes you don't have a good number 1. It's not the case with the Eagles. You have your number 1, your Super Bowl MVP and champion in Jalen Hurts. Tanner McKee is a high-level backup. But who's your quarterback 3? That's where Kyle McCord comes in. 6th-round pick, most accurate quarterback in college football last year, led college football in passing yards, threw for 37 touchdowns, good size, processes well, high football IQ, good pocket maneuverability and mobility. Obviously a cool story to root for. He's from South Jersey, went to St. Joe's Prep. The Eagles have called them a quarterback factory. And so you add a developmental player who's not going to threaten Tanner McKee, he's not going to threaten Jalen Hurts, but down the road, after you develop McCord for a couple of years, can he become something? Can he become a really legitimate player at a very cheap price tag? He's going to compete with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who's much more mobile. McCord is not going to carve you up with his legs. DTR is more of that dual-threat quarterback. I loved him as a prospect at UCLA. Kind of wanted the Eagles to take him as a backup a couple of years ago. He was in a bad situation while with the Cleveland Browns, especially for quarterbacks. It's very hard for quarterbacks to have success when they don't have a lot of stability or structure or a foundation beneath them. DTR now has that with the Eagles. And so I want to see what he can become in this developmental organization for the Eagles. 5th-round pick by the Browns. Now he comes to the Eagles, and maybe he wins the QB3 role. Maybe he can be on the practice squad. But you always invest in those important positions, especially quarterback. Another one from Andrew Nathan Chase. I believe the Eagles will keep 11 offensive linemen. I went with 10 on my roster projection, but here's what Andrew Nathan said. Because Howie loves his draft picks. Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, Lane Johnson, Drew Kendall, Trevor Keegan, Miles Hinton, Holland Pierce, Cam Williams, and Kenyon Green. So I have all of those players making my initial 53 outside of Holland Pierce. And you look at this Eagles offensive line depth chart. I mean, this is still, even though you lose Mekhi Becton, one of the best, if not the best, offensive lines in football. Going into the draft, I thought Howie needed to add some offensive linemen. They prioritize that position group. They think it's so important. I agree. You win and lose games along the trenches. Having a good offensive line allows you to win in a couple of different styles. You can muddy it up and run it. You can go pass happy. You can win in great weather. You can win on turf. You can win in the snow, sleet, rain. And a good offensive line allows you to do that. If you have a lot of injuries, you can change up your style if you know that you can run block and pass protect. And so backup offensive line competitions are going to be very, very good ones in training camp and in the preseason. Luca Gregor. Hey, Chase, which players are you looking forward to as must-watch players this season on offense or defense? I love the show. Must-watch players. Man, that's a really good question. Man, I can't wait to see how the Eagles use Jahad Campbell as an edge and off-ball linebacker type of combo. Andrew Makuba, can he beat out Sidney Brown? And that's a competition that I'm looking forward to. Can Keely Ringo, who ran a 4.3 at around 200 pounds in the pre-draft, lock down that outside corner role? who's going to start at right guard, Tyler Steen, or can it be Kenyon Green or one of the rookies? Cam Williams, if he slides inside, Holland Pierce, Miles Hinton. They're all intriguing to me. RB2 battle between Will Shipley and A.J. Dillon. The QB3 battle between Kyle McCord and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So all of those kind of position battles are ones that intrigue me. I'm even interested to see how much Ty Robinson can play this year. Antoine Powell-Ryland, Mac McWilliams. Can he be the backup number 2 slot corner behind Cooper DeJean? Return, man, is it going to be Avery Williams or somebody else? So those are the ones off the top of my head that I'm looking forward to. Hunter Esper, do you know when the NFL schedule is coming out? Yes, my brother. May 14th, this upcoming week. We already know the Eagles' opponents. Now we will know when they play and, of course, who they play. There was also a $20 super chat that came in from Dennis Designs. We can include that in our mailbag before we hop on out of here because we appreciate Dennis for that donation. I got my hat. Thanks, Dennis Designs. We sent you that Eagles Now hat. I'm glad you got it. Thanks for being patient. All of you who have won Super Chat items, we always get them to you. Thanks for supporting the show, being a legend, a real one. And I know that you're going to support us by rocking that. We also sent you that Eagles Now jersey. So, Dennis, thank you. Dennis, I can't respond to your comments on YouTube ever. I can only give them a thumbs up and give them a heart. I'm not sure why. It might be a YouTube bug. Maybe some YouTube administrators banned you, and I can't respond. But you're welcome, and thank you. And thanks for tuning into the mailbag.